I come from an area in England called the Black Country, which is a post-industrial area. It got its name from industry, from coal mines and factories. And there's an old saying that the region used to be black by day and red by night because of all the soot and all the smoke and all the factories. And it's been a bit forgotten in the modern day. It's not really represented in literature or in films or in television. And so I wanted to tell stories that speak to where I come from and what the issues are. A lot of those issues are universal, so people from elsewhere can still read the books. But it was important to me to try and put my local spin on crime fiction and to show what matters to the people who live there. Both of my grandfathers were from Romany stock, and they both are from an era when families started to settle, to get away from discrimination. My grandfather, Bill, when he was younger, people used to think he was Indian because of the different skin tone, and he'd got darker hair. And you can still see that a little bit in some people who are from gypsy families, that you can see there's something a bit different in their makeup. But I had friends who were of, say, first and second generation Indian backgrounds or Pakistani backgrounds, and they'd always be moaning about racism, saying, oh, the cops are racist, they're always bullying us. And there was a time actually when I thought they didn't have a point, because I was getting it too. So I used to say to them, look, everybody gets hassled. And it wasn't until I went to college and just saw that, firstly, that there were some people who would sometimes notice something a bit different in me, and they would react differently. But also, at college, there was less of an ethnic mix. So I just started to see, no, there was a massive difference. And what is considered normal, what the media thinks is normal, is driven by these assumptions. But everyone else has these lives, and they get treated very, very differently. I talk to other people, certainly people who are still kind of in the Romani community, and they still face massive discrimination that's not talked about in the media. It's still kind of socially acceptable to be racist about gypsies. It's a slur, it's slang, they're the butt of jokes. They're still being deported in some countries in Europe just for being who they are. And we don't talk about any of this. And that shapes the way characters think. Your views on the world are going to be shaped by how people have treated you your whole life. Writing a character who is from a different ethnic background to everyone else in the book, really, it challenges you to not just write a trope. Everyone's going to react to information differently. They're all going to have to react to each scene differently. Their views on the establishment, on politics, on family, it's all shaped by how you grow up. And we don't always think that through in media. We're often just telling the same story about the same people over and over again. So I really wanted to try and diversify the ethnic cast of the books. Because not just Romani, but other ethnic groups, the area I come from is quite mixed. And again, that's something that doesn't really get represented in the media, other than in cliché. I wanted to try and write characters who their ethnic background is an important part of them. It's integral to who they are, but it doesn't just define them. They're not clichés. They're not in there as to be a token thing. I wanted to explore that, and also to challenge myself. A lot about writing, I think, is writers should be challenging themselves. So what are my assumptions? What is normal to me, and is that normal to everybody else?